Hello queens, I'm back at y'all with another client tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how I created this soft glam look. I know how much y'all love my soft glams, and this one is beginner friendly, so we're jumping straight into this video. I'm starting it off by cleaning my client's face, and now I'm just going to proceed to doing her eyebrows. And to do her eyebrows, I'm going to be using my Nicka K eyebrow pencil. This one is in the shade black, and I'm just going to be using this to outline her brows, and I'm going to be filling in a portion of her brows with this pencil as well. Since this is black, I like to try to be as light-handed as possible with it because I don't really want it to come off as too dark. But as y'all can see, my client has beautiful dark skin, so even if it does come off as black, it won't look too bad. If your client has a lot of complexion in mind, then you probably do not want to use this shade, and if you do, just be real light-handed like I said. Now that I have both of her brows outlined, I'm going to start filling them in from the back and working my way to the front. Make sure you brush through the brows as you go, just so everything could be nice and blended. And once I've made my way to the front, I'm taking this eyebrow pencil from Hype Beauty, and it's in the shade chocolate, and I'm using it to do little hair-like strokes. As you can see, it's very light compared to the black eyebrow pencil that we use, which is why I like to use it at the front. As y'all can see, this eyebrow is already looking so good, and we haven't even used concealer yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the same process on this side. To clean up her eyebrows, I'm taking these two Nicka K concealers in the shades 07 and 12. First, I'm going in with the shade 07 because it's lighter, and I'm using this to clean up under her arch. I'm only going to be dragging this concealer out about halfway, and I like to use it underneath the arch just to make sure the arch is nice and highlighted. Now that I've created a clean line underneath the arch, I'm going to go ahead and blend out that concealer. For the remainder of the way, on the top and the bottom of her eyebrows, I'm just going to be going in with shade number 12. Now that this eyebrow is all clean, it's time to go ahead and buff out that concealer. And once that's finished, we're just gonna go over all of this again on the other side. So if you missed it, pay attention once we get to the other brow. Okay, y'all, we have two nice clean eyebrows. Yes, I love to see it. Now I'm going in with my Dermablend Translucent powder, and I'm just pressing this at the front of the brows and a little bit on the concealer just to lighten up the front and to set some of the concealer in place. For an eyeshadow base, I'm going in with my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Fair Rose. And y'all, I'm almost out of this, okay? I'm running out of this, but luckily I ordered a whole lot more shades. So we're going to be testing those out. But as you can see, I'm just pressing this all over her lids using this big, dense eyeshadow brush, y'all. I don't know what possessed me to use this brush in this video, but I don't know if y'all could tell or not, but I was struggling. So don't be like me. Make sure you get something smaller to work with to where it's easier to apply the product and blend it out, because I don't know, girl, just decided to do something different and it did not work out for me. But make sure you blend it as evenly as possible. Try to go around all the edges. Now I'm going in with my Black Radiance contour palette in the shade light to medium, and I'm going to be using these as her transition shades. So I'm taking them on this blending brush and I just applied it to the outer edge of her eye, and now I'm going inward towards the front of her eyebrows. And this blending brush came from Shop Miss A for anybody that's interested. Next, I'm going to be going in her crease with this cool tone brown shade, and this comes from my Technic The Heat Is On palette. And as y'all can see, I'm just packing this brown shade in her crease using the same blending brush that I used for the first shade. To deepen up her crease a little bit more, I decided to take some black eyeshadow and just apply it directly in her crease using this small dense eyeshadow brush. For her lid shade, I decided to mix these two P.louise bases together, and they created this color. I mixed more of the blue than the pink, as y'all can probably see, because I wanted this to be more of like a lilac shade. So yeah, now I'm just pressing this all over her lids. This is a soft look, so it doesn't have to be neat. It just has to be well blended. So make sure you take your time with this step. Now I'm taking this light lilac shade from my Morphe 35B palette, and I'm using this to set the base in place. I thought this was a beautiful shade as is before I put the eyeshadow on top of it. But as I told y'all, I wanted mine to be like a lilac purple shade. But if you want to keep it this nice baby blue shade, you could just set it with some translucent powder. Excuse my client, y'all. She was nodding off just a little bit, but as I told y'all in past videos, I have a very soft touch, so majority of my clients fall asleep if I'm not talking to them, which is why you may see me talking to them in a video. But now I'm taking some of my e.l.f. concealer and I'm just tapping this in the inner corners of her eyes, you know, to have it nice and popping. And now I'm just gonna line her eyes using my Wet n Wild black liquid liner. I'm going in with some more of that black eyeshadow, and I'm using it to blend out the end of her liner. Now I'm just going to take a pigment on top of the e.l.f. concealer. This is my AshleyLeeCosmetics pigment, and it's in the shade Silver Milky Way. If you watch any of my other previous tutorials, then you know I love this pigment, girl. This is my all-time favorite pigment. But now I'm just going to prime her skin. So I'm using my e.l.f. matte putty primer. I went ahead and moisturized it off camera, so I'm pressing this primer into her skin using a damp Real Technique sponge. The primer didn't really do enough for me, so I decided to go in with my calamine lotion, and I only used a small amount. I just wanted her face to be matte. I love a matte finish, so I'm just taking it and I'm blending it out using my Real Technique sponge. And the brand of calamine lotion that I use is Walgreens. Okay, it's the Walgreens brand, and it comes in a pink bottle. For her foundation, I'm going in with this Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation in the shade Java. And I also went in with a different foundation from Fit Me, and it was in the shade Deep Golden, but I forgot to show y'all that on camera. But as you can see, I took Deep Golden in the center of her face, and now I'm taking Java on the edge. And I'm just blending those two shades together using this dense foundation brush. By the time I post this video, an updated brush video will be posted on my channel. So if you're interested in this brush, I recommend that you go watch the previous tutorial after you finish this one, okay? After. To highlight her face, I'm going in with this Nicka K concealer in the shade 07, and I mixed it with a little bit of the Deep Golden foundation, but it was just the slightest amount, and I'm just applying it to the areas where we would normally highlight. To blend out her concealer, I'm going in with the same exact brush that I used to blend out her foundation. I like to do this just so I can have a nice seamless blend, and this will ensure that, just because any of the leftover foundation that is on the brush is going to blend right into that concealer, and it's just going to all melt together. So if you want a nice seamless blend, honey, I recommend that you do that. But you know, if you want that highlighter to be just popping, you don't have to do that. But if you want it to blend, honey, do that, okay? I decided to go in and contour her face, and to do so I used my Juvia's Place foundation stick in the shade Congo, and now I'm just going over it with that foundation brush to make sure it's all well blended. I really didn't even need to contour her because as y'all can see, those cheekbones and that jawline is snatched, honey, okay? They're naturally snatched, but for the purpose of this video I decided to do so. Now I'm just going to go ahead and blend out the concealer under her eyes using this damp Real Technique sponge. To set the highlighted areas of her face, I'm going in with my Fit Me pressed powder in the shade Golden Dore, and I'm just pressing it into the concealer using this damp Real Technique sponge, and all the shade names will be in the description box below as well as in the video. But after I've pressed that in, I'm going to go on top of that powder with my Morphe loose powder, and it's in the shade Banana. Once you're finished setting the whole face, you want to make sure you use whatever leftover powder is on that sponge and just press it on top of the nose because it'll soften up the nose contour. Me personally, I love contouring the nose off camera because I like to be directly in my client's face, but I did include that in my previous client tutorial, so make sure you go watch that one after you finish this one. As I told y'all earlier, that's the one with the updated brushes in it as well. But now I'm taking my Black Radiance pressed powder in the shade Black Coffee, and I'm using it to set the contoured areas of her face. This is also going to bring a little color back because it's like a reddish tone brown, so it works like a bronzer. Now I'm going in with another Black Radiance powder. This one is in the shade Rich Mahogany, and I'm just using it to set the remaining areas of her face. Do y'all see how soft everything is? Like, yes, this is exactly how you want your base to look. Now we're moving on to the under eyes. So I'm taking this Wet n Wild black pencil liner, and I'm using this to line her waterline. I only ran it through halfway, and now I'm taking this black eyeshadow and I'm applying it to her lower lash line, and I'm also gonna only run it through halfway. I like the eyes to look nice and lifted, kind of give off like a feline shape, so this gives me that look, as y'all can see. And now we're going in with lashes. Unfortunately, y'all, I don't know what lashes these are. I apologize, but I went ahead and cut them to fit her eyes off camera, and now I'm just applying them. And we normally do way longer and way more dramatic lashes than these, but for the purpose of this video, I'm telling y'all I wanted everything to be soft. I decided to take it down a notch. Don't get me wrong, because they're still long, but they're not as long and as dramatic as we normally do. And by we, I mean me and my client, okay? We be going above and beyond when it comes to lashes, but these were cute, okay? They were cute. But now I'm going in with my foundation brush, and I'm using it to press in the powder that I have on her face. Now I'm going to spray her down with some setting spray to lock all of this in place, and I'm fanning her with a pack of lashes. Girl, use whatever you can find. And now we're highlighting. To highlight her face, I'm using a bronze eyeshadow from my Jaclyn Hill x Morphe palette. Y'all know I love using eyeshadows. I have plenty of highlighters. I just love using eyeshadows. They just blend better for me, and it always comes out flawless. So now I'm just taking that on the tip and the bridge of her nose. And last but not least, it's time to do these lips. So I'm taking my Pond's moisturizer on this disposable lip wand, and I'm just applying a generous amount to her lips to clean them off and to hydrate them before we begin adding any type of lip products. Now I'm lining her lips using my LA Colors dark brown eyebrow pencil. Y'all can find this at your local dollar store. And for all of y'all that's asking me how I keep my pencils so sharp, this pencil comes with a sharpener, and it's the sharpener that I use for my pencils. So every time I get another one of these, I get another sharpener, which is a win-win if you ask me. But I'm doing an ombre lip, so I'm gonna outline her lips first, and then I'm gonna go in and fill in the edges. For the center of her lips, I'm going in with this lip gloss from OZ Lab, and it's in the shade 01. And I mixed it with another lip gloss from the brand She. But as y'all can see, I had her press her lips together to help me blend it into the liner. Now I'm just going to use whatever excess I have left on the applicator and just make sure it's all blended. And once we're finished with that, we'll be getting into the grand reveal. So I'm going to let y'all watch.
Ready to see? Oh, yeah. I know what I'm wearing. Period.
Period. Girl, got people to see.
Dude, this time. Got plans this time.
This time.
Period.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, y'all, this is the end of this video. I kind of had to wrap it up because my girl had places to be and people to see, but this is the finished look. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to see more client content, feel free to visit my Instagram. A link will be in the description box. Make sure you follow me while you're there. Bye bye, queens.